No heroes. No heroes. No heroes, baby.
Hello and welcome to another Deck Profile on our channel. Today we are here with Hrvoje. Yeah, Hrvoje was able to manage his deck to top 2 on the One Piece European Finals. And yeah, hi Hrvoje, how are
Hello,
you?
nice to be here again on the
Yeah.
channel. Uh, so
Yeah,
yeah, I
fir-
played the finals in second, right after the result.
perfect. First of all, we talk about your matchups and yeah, tell us about your matchup and the day. Like, how was the final for you?
Yeah, okay, so I have them all written down, so I'll just quickly go through them. First day rounds of Swiss, they were all NL, and I don't remember if I won all three dials or two of them, but in round one and round two, I saw the blue Kaido, which is like very strong in that matchup. And one third round, I didn't see the Kaido, but I still have like a strong opening with a lot of blue top end with the Borsalinos, so also like very quick 3-0 for the first three rounds. Round four, I played a mirror and I mulliganed and I saw no removal until I think 7 mana. It was, yeah, it's just one of those games you cannot win when you see no removal.
Mm-hmm.
Then round five was like surprisingly difficult. I think I got a bit lucky because it was like a game where I play my Kaido, he plays his Kaido. I cannot remove his Kaido, so I just remove the rest of his board and swing. But then on his turn, I have like Hina, Robo-Uchi, and Kaido. He goes Eruption on the Hina and Uchi, Ice Age on my Kaido. He Hound Blazes the Kaido, and Robo-Uchi is the Uchi and Hina. So I'm left with nothing but Rebecca on board, and he has like Kaido and Robo-Uchi, and I'm like, oh, this is hella scary.
Yeah.
So I tried to line up lethal over 2 turns, and he didn't have enough counter in 4 cards to defend an 8k attack, so I won. So a bit of a lucky win there. Round 6 Zoro made me go first, but I had a solid opening, and I was able to counter out of the unblockable swings later on. Round 7, round 8, and those 2 rounds were Sakamiras, where I went first and second. I won both comfortably, I think, because I had like solid opening and just played well. Then round 9 was another Sakamira, and I think it started with him like playing brand new, and the brand new whiffs because it hits Pilaf, Mancheri, and Sabo. But then when I started attacking his life, his first life is Pilaf, his second life is Pilaf, and his third life is Pilaf. So he just wrote infinite cards, and it
Yeah.
was a very painful way to lose. Round 10 was Katakuri. I was the Daryl, but I don't know. I just have a solid strategy for that matchup. Just swing fives and sixes, clear the board with the rest of your Dawn, and usually it works. Work there. And that was it for day one. I was somewhat exhausted, but I usually always feel better playing day two, just because I feel more people are more stressed in like high stakes matches than me, so it just goes to my advantage. Um, for day two, round 11 was another Sakazuki. I was viral, but I saw like 4 Hound Blazes, and it's just like when you see 4 Hound Blazes going first, you usually storm that game. So sadly, not much he could do. So I had like a really unlucky loss day one, but I also had a pretty lucky win day two. And then round 12 was another Katakuri. I lost viral again, but yeah, he just I think his first 2 or 3 life were triggers, and then he had no useful cards in life for the rest of the game, so
Mm-hmm.
it was just cruising. I played around some possible triggers in the last turn when I went for lethal, but I didn't even have to play around them because he didn't have them. So, but I think I would have won anyways.
Yeah. Interesting.
Top 64. Oh yes, I placed 33rd in Swiss, which is a bit unlucky because it meant in top 64 I will be the lower seed playing as 32nd. And to make matters worse, I was paired into a friend from Sweden who I actually went to dinner with, like with him and other Swedes the night before, like after day one. And then we get paired in top 64. Anyways, it was Sakazuki Mirror. He made me go first. I had a strong opener both games, like Hina, the Bull Hina and the Borsellino, so I was able to run away with both and 1-2-0. Top 32 was against another Sakazuki, and this was the only time in Top Cut I was the higher seed. He was placed 64th in Swiss. He was the guy who beat the 12 NL.
Mm-hmm.
So I was higher seed and chose second. I won, and he chose second. He won, and then I chose second and won again. So yeah, that secured me the the uncut sheet, which was a really nice feeling because that was like my goal going into the event. I was pretty confident I can perform, but my goal was to like top 16, just like make the big prize effectively, and then everything after that is a bonus
Yeah.
because the player level gets really high. Top 16, it was against the winner of the Treasure Cup in Paris in December, Pierre. Sakazuki Mirror, naturally. This is the only round I think we forgot to exchange deck lists before we started playing because the format was open deck list. So I kind of assumed that he would play a similar list to the Paris one, which I remember decently well, like 30 Ice Ages and stuff. So I didn't like play towards my Kaido because I figured he would be able to take it out. Game 1, I won going first. Game 2, I believe I lost when he went first. And then for game 3, we were close to time, and I chose second, which might not have been the best decision, but I ended up winning because I was able to set it up so either I counter out of his attacks, and then I win on life, or if I cannot counter out of his attacks, he does not have like he cannot play Rob Lucci or Mancheri to bottom deck cards, and then I win on deck count. So it was a really lame way to win because again I was able to choose who goes second in the game, but then I just won on time, which just always feels bad.
Yeah.
For top 8, it was, I'm forgetting his name, but a really good Italian player. I was going first round 1, then I won going second game 2, and game 3 he made me go first, and I won. I had a strong opener. And then top 4 was the feature match against Mirko. Yeah, went first, stabilized with Kaido on turn 6, and just won from the resource game there. Then I lost round 2, or game 2 rather. And then in game 3, we once again were very close to time because the same thing happened as in top 16. Like I stabilized with Kaido on turn 6, and he has Rebecca, so he can keep grinding, but I'm favored because I have more resources. It just takes so long for me to win game 1, and then when we finish game 2, we are already so close to time. So I chose to go first to deal damage fast because I figured that's probably the better approach than going second and just praying that you have enough counters. And I think people on stream were mistaken about what was happening, asking why didn't he attach Hold On to leader and swing. I would still have a turn after that, so I had the last turn in time because the timer on stream was not fully accurate. Like the judges had the actual timer on the table. So yeah, I just won time. Once again, pretty lame because once again I was able to choose who would go second in the last game. So I already felt like I would be favored in an actual game instead of just stupid time cheese, but the rules are what they are. And then finals, I played against Fabian, who I have played against in several tournaments before and talked to him quite often. We kept each other like updated on the scores throughout the weekend, so it was really, really nice to see him. We're going to Worlds together. It's just such an amazing feeling. He's a very accomplished player. Couldn't be happier. And yeah, it was also streamed obviously. Round 1 or game 1, I stabilized with Kaido very early on and win the resource game. I don't really remember round 2, but I think he just had more combo. I loosely remember bottoming 2 of his Hinas and one Robuchi, but he still had more combos. It was, yeah, just got outgrinded. And then game 3, it was going well. Like I tried to stabilize with Kaido once again because that play is so powerful. And what happened was I had Rebecca, Hina, and Tsuru in hand on that last turn. And I play Rebecca. I check my hand that I actually which combo piece I need. So I back the Robuchi, and then I put my hand down on the table, and without looking at the cards, I just play the top card from my hand. I assume it's Hina. I even take like a die from the side and put that his Robuchi is reduced to 1 cost. And then I go to play my Robuchi and I see Tsuru on the table. And I'm like, that's not supposed to be there. I messed up big. And I actually feel really bad about that moment. Not because it would have cost me the game, but because I scooped. Because I just didn't think about like I basically took away his like winning moment from him by swooping, which feels very bad in retrospect. But at that point, I was just so ashamed because I cannot ask for a take back in in European finals. So yeah, sorry about that, Fabian. But as it turned out, he resolved 3 Humblades that game, but he would find the 4th one in his cycle on his turn, so I would still lose. So the misplay didn't matter. I didn't lose sleep over it. Thank you for anyone who was concerned. But yeah, that was what happened. And yeah, I was the game.
Yeah, I remember this moment on stream. I was like, "Who? What happened?" But yeah. Fabian explained me after that situation.
Yeah, he would have won anyway, so
Mm,
it didn't matter, luckily.
yeah. That was your matchups, or you want to talk,
Yeah.
say something more?
That was it for the
That
matchups.
was the
I
matchups.
think I
Okay.
covered everything.
Then I would say we go into your deck,
Sure.
your special deck list for this event.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's very special
Mhm.
because a lot of Sakazuki lists are very similar.
Yeah.
So I guess the reason I chose the deck is it's a very consistent deck. I
Mhm.
was debating mainly between Sakazuki and Purple Luffy, which actually saw some success in Australia and South America. But the reason I chose Sakazuki was I believe for a really long tournament, this deck's consistency is unmatched. So if I
Yeah.
need to like win, and keep winning, I want a leader that's going to have like impact on every game. Like I'm always going to try and find the right cards and win. And another factor was I already played him in Paris in Treasure Cup, and I got top 8 there. And I possibly could have gotten more, but it was like one of those times where they put 3v3 on Sunday and 3v3 you can win serial Luffy. So as soon as I won top 16, I went to the judge table and dropped and picked up my prizes. 3v3 didn't go so well, but yeah. So yeah, Sakazuki. For the deck profile, obviously the most important card is the Rebecca Hina Uchi combo. It is what made the deck the powerhouse that it is. Naturally running 4 of each. Before OP-05 came into the West, I was researching the Japanese deck lists, and yeah, the deck was a lot less exciting before they included like this package to just establish a white board, take out multiple characters. It's such a super strong play. I think everybody ran 4 of these in every list except for Italians in Paris. Some of them opted for 3 Hina. But the reason I didn't even consider that option and likely will not consider it is this is a great bottom deck target in the mirror because you can just reduce it with Hound Blaze by 1 and then with Leader by 1 and then Hound Blaze it. And then you could possibly get cut off from the combo, and the combo is just too important for the mirror.
Mhm.
2 Mancheri because of she's effectively Rebecca 5 and 6. So in most situations you'll get Rebecca, but obviously she can get other stuff depending on how the game is going. She's so strong in the resource game.
Mhm.
And if your opponent chooses to ignore it, they basically have to go for game on that exact turn because she's going to outvalue pretty much anything in the game if she gets back Rebecca turn after turn. Then the cards that facilitate the early game, I ran 4 Branyu and 2 Hina. Branyu is clearly the better one. I think in West, everybody runs him at 4. In Japanese lists, when I was researching way back in November, I know some lists ran him at 3. But the reasoning is pretty simple. Like it's straightforward. You want to see all these cards, and even if he doesn't, he cannot add back to Robouchi. But even if he dumps him into the graveyard, you can still get him back with Rebecca and Mancheri. So it's just it gives you the ability to dig for your resources much better than any other card. So you just want to see him as much as possible. To Hina, just for going first in the mirror, I prefer her to peel off because she's also body. So if she survives, you attach one Dawn, she attacks, and she takes a card from your opponent. Like the fact that she's a body and applies pressure is relevant. And I also like the theme of my deck building is somewhat respecting red, mainly Zoro, because I know that deck is like always going to be popular. And this is much better than Pilaf against Zoro because Pilaf needs to be in life to be good, but this has a counter, and it's actually a good body to play because it can attack into the small like buggies and Dadans and whatnot. Especially if you have 2 to play on 6, that's like the dream play. You just draw 2 cards, establish 2 bodies. You're going to clear their board eventually. And yeah, I used to run 3 of these in Paris, but I swapped one out for another card. I'll get to that later. It wasn't anything spicy, it just didn't feel like I needed 3 uh, because the deck was consistent enough as it is. For some of the search targets for Branyu, I think the very standard for Tsuru and for Tashigi, because yeah, it's like you want your 2Ks that are searchable and still cost reduction to be maxed out. Once again, some small number of decklists in Asia ran, I believe, Tashigi at 3, but I did want to respect red, so I ran 9 2Ks. The last one is somewhere in tech spots.
Mhm.
I'll get to it later. So yeah, I just wanted the 2Ks consistent access to them, especially to Tashigi because Rebecca actually can get her back. So she's going to cover your life in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Then for the admirals, I ran 4 of the Borsellino and 2 of the Kuzan. Uh,
Very nice artwork, by the way.
yeah, earned them the hard way. The 13 became one of these Borsellinos because I noticed in yellow and purple matchups, like, she just didn't do much, and you really wanted to see this card. And once again, against red, Borsellino is probably the best card you can play on 4 if you have no like good way to use Lucci. So yeah, it just felt natural that I want to run this at 4. And as for Puzan, I didn't actually like playing him in a lot of situations. It feels somewhat unsafe, and he's a very common target for removal, and very efficient removal at that. So it was like, I like playing him into, ironically, like Red Zora and some other decks where you don't need a cost reduction just because he's a body that comes down, draws a card. So it's just like very efficient that way. And that's actually a throwback to when I learned that lesson in finals of Bielefeld. I was playing against Justin, who was playing Black Wolfie, and I was playing Zoro, and he was playing. We entered a really long grind game in game 2, and you saw all 4 of his Kuzans, and they were so oppressive because we are on like 2 or 3 cards in hand each, and then he plays a Kuzan, draws a card, and just keeps grinding because he has a body on board, he drew a card. So yeah, it was the same idea with how I approach this card. Like if I can drop it, it will help me in the long run, perfect. But if it's unsafe to drop, I just cycle it without much regret because he doesn't have a counter after all, so
Yeah.
he's not always optimal to have in hand. Then 3 of the big board Salino, I believe this is a very well established ratio. He's just if you can put him down safely, he's going to carry so many games because he's a big body. He removes a body on play. Yeah, not much to say really. Like I have nothing to add innovative on the topic that hasn't already been said by pretty much everybody. For Great Eruption, yeah, this card is insane. Once again, Justin is the first person probably in the world who figured out how good this card is because he ran it in OP-02 in Smoker and OP-03 in Black Wolfie. Like nobody was running this card. It was like 10 cents or something. But now that we all play a broken black deck, we realize this card is insane. And yeah, once again, in Asia, some lists replaced one of these with Navy HQ, but that hasn't been widely adopted because Navy HQ loses your card from hand, and this is -2 cost, and you still keep the card in hand, so just too good. For Houndblaze, no questions here. A insanely broken card combined with the cost reduction of black. Like it pays off itself in the power bonus already, and then you also get the bottom of a body. It's just such a good card. Nothing smart to say on that front for me. One Ice Age. This is probably the most peculiar choice for many people in my list because most people run 2, some even 3. But it's not a card I like to rely on because it feels like to make best use out of it, you need to have a real blowout play. Like you need to get a lot of value of your Rob Lucher Houndblaze when you Ice Age. And the reason I think it's that way is because it gives up a card from hand. Like it reduces cost by 5, but you like throw entire card from hand into trash. So the impact has to be really good for you to justify combining with some removal that is also like costing you a card from hand. So yeah, I don't like relying on this card. I just think against yellow and purple, I try to conserve my cost reductions smarter because you have like all your 2Ks are reduced costs. The Navy 2Ks, you have like 4 eruptions, 2 Kuzans, and 4 Hinas, the black ones. So like you have plenty of cost reduction. I don't feel like you should rely on this. I ran this exact same number in Paris, and obviously it served me well there as well. So yeah. For the 9th 2K, it was a Bartolomeo. Is this getting off screen? No, it's fine. So Bartolomeo, yeah, I wanted the 9 2K. It was, it had to be 3 cost or between 3 and 5 so I can get it back with Rebecca and Mancheri. So it was mainly between Vergo and Bartolomeo because Vergo is searchable with brand new. But my issue with Vergo was that I don't really want to search 2Ks with brand new. If I play brand new, I'm probably looking for like big Borsellino, Hounds, Eruption, small Borsellino, or Hina. I don't want to add a 2K. So I don't think the searchable tag matters on this one for what is essentially a tech spot. So it was just that I can add it back with Rebecca is all that mattered. And the fact that he's a blocker, you can actually play him, whereas Vergo, you can never play Vergo. Like, there's never going to be a situation where you decide, okay, I'm paying 5 mana to play a 5K unit. At least not in this deck. So yeah, just the fact he was a blocker was very relevant both in Paris and in Utrecht. Like it came up 2 or 3 games each tournament. Then one Sabo, it's perhaps another bit weird choice because a lot of people run 2 or 3 as a protection against yellow, but I don't actually like situations where I have to play him. Like if I'm playing him, I already feel that somewhere in my game plan I did wrong. Like I misplayed somewhere, so I'm in a situation where I have to like desperately stick this and hope they cannot kill me. Like it's nice if you have it because sometimes it's just extra insurance, but his effect is kind of unreliable because it only lasts for 1 turn and you cannot ever guarantee that they're going to go for game this turn. So you can just place him and then his effect expires and maybe you just get Thunderbolt to the Marvick the turn after anyways. So I didn't really like relying on this card, and I think in both feature matches, game 2 when I lose, I play him on 9. I have no removal on 9, so I have to play him to dig for removal, and I don't find it or I find it too late, so just yeah, I feel like game is going wrong if I have to play this in most situations, but it does sometimes come up nicely with the Rebecca, like into Whitebeard and Red Purple Luffy. You can Rebecca grab back Sabo, and then your Rebecca is protected from like Nico Robin or the Whitebeard effect. So it was fun.
Yeah.
And then finally to Kaidos, Tenko's Kaidos. The only change I made from Paris for this list was the one Hina into the 4th Borsalino
Mm-hmm.
and 2 Mihawks into 2 Kaidos. I preferred Mihawks initially because they allowed you like better curve going first in mirror, and they were obviously still really strong against yellow. And I just felt like in a lot of situations where I want to play Kaido, Mihawk is just as strong, if not stronger. But what made me change my mind was uh, after a lot of testing with Joris Verhelst, who won Treasure Cup Hanover, but sadly didn't have a ticket for the Utrecht finals. He ran to Kaido, and the way he played for them was kind of on the safe side, where it was creating situations where Mihawk would be better than Kaido, but Kaido is still good enough. Like it doesn't matter which one you play, you're still going to be favored by playing them. But Kaido had the bonus of like defensive flexibility in a sense that sure, your opponent might have board advantage and keep that board advantage, but you draw 4 cards and you can defend yourself and then just swing the board advantage in your favor the next turn because you drew 4 cards, you use some cards for defending, and then you spend your surplus cards to remove his board and gain advantage. So this is mostly relevant in the mirror when you run out of combo because you can like place Kaido and then you usually try to place a blocker or 2 before placing Kaido. So you even early Rebecca Hina Uchi combo just to have the Rebecca on board to drop him safely, so they cannot abuse you with like 8-9-9 swings. But also against NL, NL is a really easy matchup if they try to starve you, but it can get tricky if they try to aggro you, and especially with the Russian L, the 7 cost, because you cannot reliably remove him. And the issue with Mihawk in that situation was you play Mihawk, and they're just like, okay, trash life, and usually they're on 2 life when that happens, so they just got into a Amaru range by trashing a life, which is good for them because they can threaten to kill you. But also they still keep the body on board. So you might as well accept the fact that they're going to keep the body. You're not going to out NL that turn. But you play Kaido and draw into potentially 2Ks, 1Ks, and you can counter out of the attacks and still live, and then deal with NL next turn when you have this big body that's just swinging. Like whatever this swings into is gonna die because it's 12K. And yeah, this card was effectively my button, like emergency button. Like game's going wrong, slam Kaido, draw cards, and hopefully it works out. And I think it did that throughout the weekend very well because there's a lot of games where I had less combo, less removal, but just living safely to see Kaido and place Kaido allowed me to turn the game around. And yeah, I think that is it for the deck. So yeah, this card was just really good.
Yeah, yeah, very nice. You explained the deck very good. Thank you for that for all the people. And yeah, at the end of your deck profile, you want to show us one card or one combo that maybe your favorite card or favorite combo in deck.
Well, as I said, probably Kaido. They also asked me in the interview which card was like best performing, and this definitely performed up to expectations. I'm very happy that I replaced the Mihawks with Kaidos. Once again, thanks to Yoris for inspiring me for that. It just there were so many situations where this came up and performed so well. So Kaido was the MVP.
Yeah. Okay, and you have some you go to the worlds, um, and you have
Yep.
some training now, or you are in like in chill modus.
So I relaxed for the last week, but at NA finals they revealed that OP-05 is going to be the format for Worlds. So I'm going back to testing and yeah, just with the idea to perform as best as possible at Worlds. I'm obviously going to be testing with Fabian a lot because we need EU to win,
Yes.
but also with friends and whoever honestly wants to help. I'll try to make as much time for testing. Because the goal is to win this thing.
Yeah, very nice. At the end of the deck profile, thank you for the deck profile, and you want to give some shoutouts?
Oh yeah, of course. So first of all, big thanks to Christian Churla.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you might know him as Voice of the Wind. He was rank one and possibly still is rank one on the ranked Simulink server. Uh, we tested a lot for OP-05, a lot of different matchups and deck list configurations. Uh, and also Joris Verhelst, once again, the guy who won Hanover. Sadly, he could not be at finals and because he couldn't get a ticket. And I cannot express how tragic that is because he's definitely one of the best players in Europe, I think. He only started playing relatively recently, but he's a really good player. And I have no doubt that he would also like at least top the event if he was at Utrecht. But yeah, once again, for all the testing, for the inspiration for Kaido, he was the one who Kaido pilled me, convinced me that this card can swing mirrors which are otherwise unfavored because you see less good cards than your
Nice.
opponent.
Yeah.
And naturally, big thanks to all my locals, all my friends who I tested with. There is too many to name, but yeah, shout out to Magic Commons locals and Carta Magica locals. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, Hrvoje. Thank you for your deck profile, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.